of all, Sony's big sort of thing was 50 megapixel times 30 FPS times AI. That's what they put up on the screens. And that's basically they're telling you what the lead is. But Sony just doesn't always get the lead correct, at least for sports photographers. Maybe they do for everybody else. But for sports photographers, we are looking for something else. And so this video is more about the launch, first impressions of the camera. But what I've done is I've taken all the features that they mentioned today, and I've readjusted the order of them in the order I think that's most appropriate for sports photography. So let's get into it. So first of all, instead of 50 megapixel, 30 frames per second, and AI as being the big thing, it's really not. The big thing is pre-capture with a 50 megapixel camera. So for specifically the A1 Mark II will do exactly what the A9 Mark III does, where it will go back into the past, buffering. When you hit the shutter release button when you're shooting pictures, it will actually go backwards and pull from the buffer however much time you set the camera to grab earlier than when you shot, which means you get pictures that you would normally get. Now, you got to be in focus and you got to be composed, but if you're focused and composed, you're going to get stuff you never got before, which is pretty cool. So the very first thing is pre-capture. That's the number one thing. The next biggest deal is improved low light performance. Now there's two different facets to this. And before I get into this, I want to point out the difference between the original A9, or what we call the A9 Classic now, and the A9 Mark II. Now the Mark II had substantially better improved low light capability, even though it used the same sensor as the original A9. We're in the same situation here and now where, yes, the A1 Mark II is using the same sensor that it was in the original A1. However, Sony engineers have had all this time to think about, process, and figure out how to get the very best off that sensor with new processing techniques and more power than they've ever had in processing. So is it better? I don't know yet because I haven't really tested it in low light yet, but that will come this weekend. I'm going to get to take one home with me and shoot a game on Saturday, which is really cool. But anyway, so pre-capture is number one thing for us. Number two is the improved light and white balance sensitivity. So one of the greatest things about the Sony A7S Mark III and the Mark II and the original is that all those cameras did not just great performance in low light, but they also kept color consistent in low light. So when it's super, super dark, go out under street lights or whatever, the camera would resolve really good skin tones, even at 100,000 ISO or whatever. That is the case. I did some testing today, and the white balance is excellent. But it's a combination of white balance with low light performance. So I think we can expect to see much improved low light performance with the A1 Mark II versus the original A1. Now, the third big thing I think that they kind of missed was that they put an additional microphone on the back of the camera that faces you as you're shooting for voice memos. And this is kind of tied to the fact that they now have the Creators app, as well as Transfer and Tag app. The Transfer and Tag app, if you figure out how to use it, will allow you to speak to text. So you could actually speak the text into the camera, and it's going to embed actual text from your voice into the file, into the individual file that you've selected. So you hit playback, you find the picture that's the best one of the interception, then you basically press and hold whatever button it is that you tasked for this purpose. You record a voice memo, and then that voice memo gets embedded into the file that you selected. Now this is really cool for doing remote stuff where you got an editor out of town or whatever. It's going to be a big deal for student newspapers where they don't have like FTP, they don't have they can't afford to do all that stuff. But they're going to be able to send pictures back to somebody that's even in the stands that can then crop and rotate or whatever and then pump it out to Instagram or wherever they want to go. So the first big deal about the A1 Mark II is the pre-capture which is from 0.03 to 1 full second. The second thing, that's improved low light and white balance in extremely low light conditions. And the third thing is a combination of the new microphone where you can do speech-to-text captioning while using the A1 Mark II with transfer and tag. Now that we've said all that, what's left? There's now a way to do what's called automatic transfer directly into Lightroom, if you're an Adobe user, or directly into Google Drive. Now, I think the Google Drive is going to be a much more popular thing. The space in Google Drive is so cheap compared to Apple. I kind of feel like people are going to go that way. So you'll be able to set up a Google Drive folder, and then as you're going through the game, you'll be able to send images directly to that Google folder, which is pretty slick. The next thing is the AI in the autofocus. And this is pretty cool. It has now human, bird, animal, insect, car and train, and airplane. And then it allows you to set priorities. If you're doing birds and animals, you can have animal be first or birds first or whatever. There's 3 options for that. So that's pretty cool. So it's now there. So people that want to shoot birds in flight, you're going to be very happy with this camera because it's going to be much larger files than the A9 II or A9 III with that tracking ability, which is really cool. We also picked up the extra large and extra small and custom autofocus area setting that we have in the A9 III. So that's now in the A1 Mark II as well. There's 2 new eye cups that you can use. Now the original eye cup is the FDA EP19, but they now make this deep one, or Mike Buble called it squishy. So it's a longer it sticks out more. If you don't wear glasses, this is the one you're going to want because it's going to allow your eyeball to kind of go inside of a sort of a cavity that's dark. It's going to let you really see better even if you don't have a hat on in a bright sunny day game. If you wear glasses like me, you're probably going to stick with the FDA EP19 because it's smaller and it's better for us so we can see the whole viewfinder. The A1 Mark II does in fact use the same grip, the battery grip, as the A9 Mark III. So if you already have one of those, that's great, or whatever. And it does feel much better. So I think Sony has finally figured out the overall feel of their sports cameras, and this is it. So I'm very happy with that. Now, here's some bonus information. This is probably not something this is not mentioned today, but I was talking to somebody from Tokyo. I'm not going to say who, but I did get confirmation that the new camera, the new A1 Mark II, will ship with a brand new battery charger that was announced back in October. And this battery charger will take 2 batteries, and it will charge both simultaneously, not one before the other. And this is a big development because we really often, when you're in deadline sports, especially during tournament season for basketball, man, we need those batteries charged quick. And this is going to do that, and that is going to be coming included with the camera when it sells new in the US for the same price as the old A1 at $6,500. So you can look at it as you can get the camera for $6,380 because you get the free charger. All right, so maybe that's not such a big deal. But anyway, will I get the camera? That's the big kind of question. I did get to shoot it today. I'll do another video with some test pictures from the launch today. I don't probably will. It's amazing. I mean, I don't want to get it for financial reasons, but I do feel like the Alpha 1 is superior to the A9 III in a lot of ways, mostly being resolution. And I punch in a lot. I made the decision, like some people, that I had a 400-2.8 and a 600 f4. When the 300-2.8 came out, I was so excited about it that I sold my 400. So I use a 300-2.8 now more than I ever had before. I use it with the 6 shooting football. But that means that I shoot a lot with punching in. And at 50 megapixel with better low light and the fact that it's got pre-capture, it's probably leading me down. I probably will get one. I'll probably sell my original A1, so let me know if you need one. It's really in mint condition. There'll be a whole lot of them in the market, I think, pretty soon. But otherwise, yeah, I think I will get it. I just think it's, I love the feel of it, and I like having everything in the same place, all the buttons, all the feel, all that stuff. So if you're still with me, thanks so much for watching. Look for a new video on some pictures I shot today with the camera, as well as I'm going to be shooting an SEC game this Saturday with the camera, and I will look forward greatly to sharing you what I did at that game with the new A1 Mark II. Thanks so much for watching.